Hello again, viewers, and greetings, fellow space travelers. This is the ever absent Thorn of Night, and I am on the Refuge, and I'm staring at some bedrock. Because before I get too far into this, I want to do something which seems to be happening more than I'd like on my channel here. I'd like to apologize for my absence. I have this habit, you see. I enjoy food. There's something about it. I seem to die without it. So I've had to pursue some income of some description because it's becoming more and more apparent that I'm not going to get anywhere on YouTube, and I'm going to have to do something else. So I've had to get work, and that's what I've been doing last couple months actually. Is working, and pretty exclusively. I've even my just general gaming has just fallen to the wayside. So I haven't really been able to get much up or done. Rather, I've gotten nothing up, but not much done. Um, but that does imply I've gotten some things done, and some things are what I'm going to be showing you. And hopefully, now that I'm at a sort of more stable slope with my work activities, I should be able to sort of get back into doing some recording on here, at least less infrequently, more frequently, something than I currently am now. But I'm on some bedrock, and this is very flat bedrock. And if you look in the bottom corners here, you can see I am over the void, but not just any void. This is not the void that you see in the overworld. No, this is the end void. You can't really see that I'm, well, I guess if you pay just enough attention, you might be able to see that I'm turning, but it's more apparent if I look down and see the end island. This is the end island. So one of the people that has joined the server somewhat recently was unaware that we were waiting to coordinate for at least 4 or 5 people to be able to participate in the killing of the End Dragon. No one's upset. I can always respawn the End Dragon, and I will be some distance out. But the plan was initially for a bunch of the players to participate in the killing of the End Dragon legitimately, swords, bows, armor, potions, falling, dying, and me record the whole thing for posterity's sake. But apparently someone decided to do it themselves, and now the end island is safe. You don't have to do this mad sprint to get to this thing that someone built an Enderman farm, which I'll be showing you here in a bit. But now this opens up a few things. First off, there are those rings, or there is that ring of the obsidian pillars, which goes down to the bottom possible building block that I'm going to be turning into the core of an end city here. And I also, this bedrock here, is here for a reason. This is going to be the starting point of a rather massive project that I will be getting to soon enough. But let's see here. First, before I do this, I did want to point one thing out. If I look down at the island, you can probably just barely see it, and have probably been noticing it this whole time. There seems to be this glimmer of activity going on the island, and sure enough, if I zoom in, it's even more obvious that it is gangs of Enderman mobs just appearing and then instantaneously despawning. That's because, though I'm the only person here, I am just close enough for things to still be able to spawn on that island. But they are so far away that by the cleanup procedures, they instantly despawn as soon as they arrive, so their ghosts are just there long enough to display that they were there. So I'm going to fly straight down, and this platform is pretty much dead center over the I don't even know what to call that, the fountain portal, where the what shows up when you kill the end dragon. And no longer does it just appear under where the end dragon was slain either. It appears dead center of that. But I'm going to come down here, and right about here the mobs will actually start staying put. And now some of them will still despawn. Either they'll wander out far enough that they will get into that despawn distance, or their natural cleanup will say, alright, this one despawns and this one despawns. And so every so often there will be this flicker of some activity outside the ring. Oh, I think I just saw some. Until a new mob appears inside. Let me. Oh, did it again. Let me go up. There we go. There we go. Now it's almost like a clock, only not as predictable. If you watch carefully, you'll see some despawn below me, and then it'll try to get the entity population up to what the maximum or whatever is supposed to be. And then, oh, saw some despawn, and then new flickers, neat. And then it will spawn more until they land inside this bubble where they stay spawned, and this keeps on happening over and over again. So if I come back up a little bit farther, that sphere around me, which contains the rules for distance for keeping mobs alive, basically, shrinks and shrinks. But let me come back down just a smidge. Oh, there's one, two, a little bit more. Let me just stay here and see how many of these mobs. Oh, there we go. Now they're all crammed into that little space. And the farther down I go, the more mobs can spawn. So that's basically the way that works. I don't know if you were aware of that. I think it's 128 blocks. They will stay, and beyond 128 they immediately despawn. But there we go. Bunch of Endermen right here. Now there are a few things going on the end. You may wonder, by the way, why I am not recording with the chat open, and that's because there are some people on here who are discussing things I'd rather not have in my videos. So I'm just going to do the video, pretend the chat's not there, and just go on about my business. Now what I did is they had a dirt road with cobblestone bits and gaps and things. They had this path that they had built out, and this is before the end dragon was killed. What they did, this is brilliant. They dragged the end dragon way over to this side of the island, and then as soon as the dragon got in that extreme distance, they quickly turned around and ran this way so that the end dragon would stay active in memory but immobilized by distance. Same rule as if you are far enough away from most mobs, they won't walk around. There are some that still get, for whatever reason, get the okay to walk, but for the most part, they stay still. And this is true for the end dragon. So it stayed way over there. And then they ran over here and just built this bridge and kept on going, kept on going. And eventually they got to the outer ring, the asteroid belt, or through the reverse asteroid belt of the void. Between the end island and where the end actually spawns islands now, there's a kilometer. 1,000 blocks of void. Just nothing but void and death and pain and suffering. So, they built a bridge. But it was scary, and Enderman was spawning on it, and it was just problematic. So, I figured, why not? They built, whoever it was, built this little spire thing. I don't even, it's a spire. There we go. It's a good enough word for it. And you cannot really change the point where you come into the end. It's going to be on this, so all you can do is just encapsulate it. So what I did is I took some of the ideas of this structure and added some endstone bricks and have the purple glass down there so you can look down and see the void and be terrified. But I made the bridge, and it is 8 kilometers long. But I'm not going to fly through the whole kilometer like this because there's a faster way to travel made possible by the end itself. I am going to use an elytra. But you can see the Endermen are spawning on the top of it. I don't care if they spawn on top, that's fine. All I was concerned about was whether or not they could spawn inside, and so I made the inside of this long bridge 2.5 blocks tall, so Endermen cannot spawn in there. Alright, now this bridge does go into the core of this island, because as you can see, someone also decided to make this. There is a named Endmite inside this minecart, and whenever an Enderman sees it, they try to kill it. So they'll try to get to the only point where they can get to it, and they fall down and into a little shaft there. And there's an Enderman murder hole down here. This is your standard mob slaying thing, and this is a far enough drop that you can, for the most part, just punch them to death. But that's that. I had the tunnel come in here, like so. And then from here, it's just access to the rest of the end. It's actually pretty nice. What I am interested in showing, however, if I can manage, I recently learned something that I did not know. Let me go back to the end island here. There we go. Ooh, creepy. There's nothing spawned below us. There we go. Terrain. Now, okay, there's the bridge. So there it is. Over here is where the End Dragon was killed, apparently. Now, what happens is, once you kill the End Dragon, you can't break this bedrock. Well, I can, but I'm not going to. There is a portal here. You can throw an Ender Pearl into this, and it will teleport you to the nearest End City. So, I could kill some Endermen here, get an Ender Pearl, aim it for that, go in, and it will teleport me into somewhere near the End City that it is attached to, or because I have an elytra, I can, there we go, I can teleport through. And here we have an End City. That is just too cool. I didn't know that warp thing was even a thing, and you can just like you went in, you can come through this way, and hopefully I can aim this right. Nope. Watch me fail this 100 times. I got it right on the first time over there. Let's glide over. There we go. And it takes you right back to here. Isn't that just too cool? Now, they were playing around with doing some little thing. I don't know what this was supposed to be. But I'm going to be actually turning this into a city. But I have a lot of other things on my plate. Speaking of other things on my plate, let's go back to spawn real quick. Oh, look at that. It's daytime. Doop, doop, doop. Yay, this is so cool. Why have I not been elytrating this whole time? Why have I just been flying normally? Do, 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 do. So there have been now several dark mansions that have been discovered, and I was just struggling over different designs that I wanted for the chateau, the mansion, whatever, the estate that was going to go here. And then it just dawned on me. There are already some built in the game. They spawn naturally, normal mansions, just waiting to be placed right here. So I went ahead and grabbed one. This is a dark forest generated mansion that I'm going to be slightly modifying. I like it well enough that I'm just basically going to keep it as is with a few modifications, particularly to the outside, maybe some vines and things. Excuse me. One of the other key components that's going to be in here will be... let's find one. I know there's one over here, maybe? Yes. In one or more of these jail cells, there are going to be hidden passages that will take you down in the storyline that I have building here. It'll take you down to the underground portion, which is going to be basically the intro to the secondary part of the quest line, which will involve finding and defeating the bad guy. I guess that's not the secondary, that's the main thing. And eventually you will find a tunnel system that will lead you over to this area, so you will understand why there's that gross greenish hazy fog and why there's lava there. It is to do with the underground activities that are happening by the main antagonist of the story, which you will eventually have to kill the minions of in the future chapters and whatnot. But I decided, why not just go ahead and grab the mansion. That's less headache for me, because I could have worked for hundreds of hours and built this elaborate thing, or instead of focusing on the mansion, I could focus more on the story and not use my valuable time when I'm not working to do other things. So here we go. Just your standard Dark Forest mansion thing. Are those? No. Yes, it is. It's a bird. Ha ha! It's a chicken. Giant chicken statue made of wool. I do need to get rid of those glowstone spires. That'll be a future project. Speaking of future projects, one of the more recent things that you saw me working on was the end portal room where the stronghold is, and it was very rudimentary. So let's go over there. I want you to see the progress that I've made on it. And here we are in the end portal room. Yay, movie magic. I have done a bit of upgrades to it. This is still the tunnel that leads into it, right here. And you just take that from the surface and it just slowly brings you down here, and then you are now encountering the water wall. I may need to fix that. I don't want to get there, I don't think. I am going to modify this part to make it more curved or sloped or whatever. It's no real big rush. I have added some guardrails and also all the way around, and in order to get the crenellations and merlins that there are on a parapeted wall, you can have string laying across the top, and it acts like if you pop a torch on one of these, it'll raise the surface and make these things. Otherwise, you just have, well, I'm not going to aim for it right now, but you just have the smooth wall instead of having the jagged edges. But as you can see, several other things have happened down here. I've got several layers thick of some glass to make a sort of misty fog kind of thing down here. I have added a decorative support structure to the bottom of these columns. I am possibly going to add just a few more bells and whistles to the rest of the supports. I have not yet decided. I haven't done anything with the rest of the rooms, and for that matter, I haven't actually finished the end portal room because I haven't decided on a layout. I have surrounded the entire place, well, most of the place, with water. No, I have surrounded the entire place, even under the mountain, with water, but the parts that aren't directly under the mountain, and there is going to have to be a little bit more smoothing. This is still rather jagged, but parts that aren't under the mountain, you are looking up directly to the bottom of the ocean floor. I have used barrier blocks because glass made it too hazy. I wanted it to be a little bit more clear, and this way I can, around the perimeter, I can make like a kelp forest or something, or at least a sparse one, so you at least get the impression that there's seaweed and stuff. And when it's like this, this was the ocean floor right here. I made sure the whole thing was covered with gravel. Then I replaced the gravel with the barriers, and it was just fun all the way around. But the result is this looks like water waves of some sort. I think it's kind of cool. So this is how to access the end right there, and we'll go back to the end at the end of this video. But there are a few more things that I want to cover. I just want you to see that I have not been sitting by idly. I have been progressively working on things here. But there's another thing that is underwater that I wanted to show off. Well, not so much show off, just show. Because it has taken quite a lot of doing, and it's still not done. And I'll be there presently. Alright, so I'm over here at one of the other projects that have been going on. So, what's happened here is White Cat wanted a sort of Atlantis kind of vibe. She wanted a huge underwater area. So I said, how about such and such size? And she said, that's great, but one a little bigger. So I went ahead and cleared out the area and tried to make it a some sort of smooth effect to the gravel that I left as the ocean bed. But there is, as you can see, some lumping, and in some places you can see some of the bedrock because I haven't fully finished the procedure yet. It's still a work in progress. I don't want it to be all rectangles. And in the interest of it not being rectangles, what's going to happen is using this slope as a template, this cone here, I am going to be making the perimeter that. Well, mostly that with some different protrusions and whatnot, but that's the gist of how the walls are actually going to be. It's not going to be a sheer vertical thing. However, I was looking at this and thinking how kind of cool it would be to have sort of an inset community and have these curtains of water and just have columns that you can see the actual city through. That would be kind of cool. So that's an idea I'm going to be tossing around for one of my own projects. But for right now, I just want you to see the scope of the project. So let me go up. Well, that's not a rocket. There we go. Yay! She marked with glowstone where she wanted it to sort of turn. And it goes through like this. Comes over here. And I went through and did all this work. She doesn't know how to do world edit, so what I've been doing is just going through and shrinking it down to everything but the gravel and the bedrock. And then in some places there's just stuff on top of the gravel which prevents any... Oh, can I just outright fly in? Oh, I can! I just have to constantly be moving. Anyway, there are some places where with the smoothing and also there were some places where there were islands. There's just some bedrock, so that has to be taken care of. There we go. There were islands, and so there's no gravel to bring down, and so I have to do a little work. Now, there you go. You may hear and see some guardians attacking squids. That's because there's a water temple here, and you can even see the the prismarine blocks or whatever those are. Can I go straight to flying? Yes, I can. Cool. So what I did was, just to get it out of the way, I copied the thing. Or rather, I relocated it. And then once everything's done down there, this is going to get shoved right back down into the water. But for right now, it is up there in the middle of the air. But I just want you to see the scale of this thing. It's fairly sizable. And I went through and did all this. It's actually kind of fun, all things considered. I will eventually make a map of it, maybe. Comes in. Oh, and this is where it becomes a straight line. I need to do something about that. And then here in a little bit, there's the beacon. There's the corner. And here we are, right back where we started. So it's quite the sizable project, but it is probably only about a third the size of the one that I'm going to do. So after doing all of this, I now realize just how much I have in store for me. But that's totally a future project. For right now, however, I'm going to try to just focus on this before I start that one, because I have enough projects on my plate right now. Speaking of projects on my plate, there is one rather large project that I am going to be working on a lot over the very near future, and will probably have the better part of an episode dedicated to exploring it and some of the other activities that are going on around it. I said at the beginning of this video that I'd be going back to the end, so let's go back to the end. There's Cuddles gesturing down there. But anyway, I was alluding to the fact that I had a project up here, or in the end, and what it is going to involve is, this is going to be the top of it, or where the top is located, or the top center anyway, and it is directly above the portal thingy, the portal fountain. And what's going on here is I'm going to be making a sort of a sky globe. It is going to be, or more of a star globe. It is going to be a map of the constellations, with due north being straight up above, because reasons. I don't really have any good reasons other than the fact that that was the best map that I could find that was circular, covered all the seasons, and was easy enough to modify, because I'm not just going to be having Earth constellations. No, this is Minecraft. There's also going to be some Minecraft constellations. What's a Minecraft constellation? Oh, I don't know. Pickaxe, creeper face, Eye of Ender. There's all kinds of ideas. Villager face. We call this constellation. Oh, there's White Cat. Hello, White Cat. Maybe a tree. Maybe an ingot. I don't know. Things that can be done in sort of squares. I'm going to be having them separate from the rest. So for the star lines that are going to be the normal Earth's categories, constellations, for the star lines between them, that will mark out where the constellations are, those are going to be one color. And then where the constellations are that I'm going to be custom making for Minecraft, those are going to be in a different color. But it's going to be a black dome. It's going to be 200 tall and 400, 400 across. Because this is 200 tall right here, from where this bedrock is all the way down to there on the ground, roughly. I mean, there's obviously some topography there to deal with, but it's going to be very sizable. So sizable that I'm going to go down here and look back up. Whoa! Ah! I didn't know she was down here. But you can see how itty bitty tiny that is. That bedrock, or maybe not. Maybe YouTube will make this too dark to see. But there is bedrock up there, dead center of my map, and it is oh so very far away. And that is way larger than the star sizes are going to be for the for the actual star map. So she angered the Enderman. Cuddles angered the Enderman. So anyway, yeah, that's one of the other bajillions of projects that I've got planned and or already underway. Lots and lots of stuff to do. I haven't given up on this. I've actually been doing a lot of work, as you can see. It's just I haven't really been able to do much recording of anything. So hopefully I'll be able to get back into that. She just teleported. Interesting. Hopefully I'll be able to get back into that soon enough. But it may be a little while longer. I really do want to get my focus that I have to do with getting work going stabilized. That way I have that as a sort of base plate, so I can work from there. Oh, and here's White Cat. So I'm going to get back to work on some other stuff here. Hello. Oh, and also White Cat is now an admin on here. Anyway, I'm going to get back to work on doing some stuff here. Possibly even some more work on the spawn area. Who knows, but we'll see. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. So thank you very much for watching and putting up with my absence. I do appreciate you coming back. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please feel free to leave a message in the comments section below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Thank you once again for watching. This is Thorn of Night, and I will talk to you later. So, if you shoot them as headmen with arrows that have the invisibility tips, they don't get out of the way, and they are just eyeballs of mysterious death.